This is the opening lecture for 2025 and thinking of great things. So, friends, how this paper has come, incidentally, I just wanted to share with you that I have become one of the experts of that Center for International Rural Development for the Asia Pacific. The institute is at Dhaka, and the DG, Dr. Chandrasekhar, is also my colleague. So, we had to write a research paper for how this rural intelligence platforms, it can be digital platform, it can be a process, it can be a physical platform, how the rural intelligence network and how the value chain is going to be developed. And because of the development in the value chain, how the sustainable rural livelihood can take place. So that is the whole thing. I'll be giving you certain examples of the country paper, especially in India, what are our efforts, how this value chain is getting developed, and how the rural people are increasing their incomes, accessing better livelihoods, and so on and so forth. So very quickly, I'll tell you, yeah, this is all about myself. We've already been doing this for quite some time. See now, what is the value chain? See, everybody would like to know. See, suppose you take, you bring milk and early morning, my colleagues will be preparing coffee at their home. So that is value addition. The milk got converted to coffee. And, when outside you have to pay 20 rupees for a cup of coffee, but if you prepare it at home for 25 rupees, you get half a liter of milk. So, but what is the value there? This is what you people might be asking. So now, the value added is in terms of the product, it can be in terms of the process, it can be in terms of the utility which is created over a period of time, or it can be a place utility. Suppose, you go to a hilltop and you get a bottle of juice. So maybe in a big shop, you get it for about 20 rupees, but in a hilltop, they sell it for 45 rupees. So if you go to Kumbh Mela, for example, anything can be added. So the value is not just added in terms of transformation of a product, but the value can also be added with the utility of time. It can be the utility of place. Okay, it can be utility of form. See, if you simply pack and give it to me, that itself is a value addition. So ultimately, when many actors are involved into this, okay, especially in the rural development sector, I have 6,25,000 villages in India, and out of these 6,25,000 villages, okay, the people are all producers, but they're not becoming the actors of the value chain because, see, I tell you that, the input factorization is occurring, but the output commercialization does not occur. Especially, it's very true with our Indian farmers and the farmer producer organizations, wherein many people enter the villages, give them very beautiful inputs. Even through the mobile platforms, you have got umpteen number of apps, which are all adding to the value chain. But ultimately, whether all these things are getting transformed into the increased income of the rural areas, whether their health is increasing. You see, when I talk about rural development, it has 5 to 6 facets of a rural development. It can be health, it can be education, it can be increase of income, it can be sustainable livelihood, it can be preservation of your ecology, it can be preservation of your climate sensitive agriculture, climate smart agriculture, okay, rural sanitation, and so on. So I will not be going into the details of the rural development facets, but I'm just going to tell you how this rural intelligence network, we did write a paper, myself and Dr. Chandrasekhar from CIRDAP, we have written this paper, and especially how the mobile journalism is taking off. And then today's thing is how the value chains are added. Will be giving you 2 examples of one is of IFCO, where Dr. Chandrasekhar's student, Morup Namgale, he heads the digital agri at IFCO, and a lot of experiments done in India. And then another of my student, Mr. Siddharth from Arya AG, they have come out with a lot of rural intelligence platforms where they are adding value to the farmers, increased income, and so on. See, now, by the end of 2020, we had a the mobile users are increasing, the internet users are increasing, the smartphone users are increasing. So if I talk about the sustainable rural livelihood framework, there are a lot of shocks, trends, seasonality. It can be migration, okay, it can be rural health, it can be corona. Very recently, when we had corona, a lot of crisis management has taken place, for which, this rural intelligence platform works wonders. See, for example, if somebody had to be quarantined, if somebody had to take an injection, okay, and all these things were done only with an intelligence platform, either through the mobiles or with a database or with a framework. How many are inoculated, how many are insulated, and so on. And obviously, even during a corona crisis, okay, this was, the unconventional methods of marketing. There's another paper by myself and Dr. Chandrasekhar. He was a DG at NIAM at that time. So unconventional strategies, for your kind information, the production or the marketing did not reduce even during the corona time. So that is the beauty of this rural intelligence framework, where, all the five capital, the human capital, the natural capital, financial, social, and physical capitals are giving rise to, a beautiful management with the livelihood strategies, and people are still having a livelihood. And the production has not come down, nor does the marketing has come down, or people did not become, jobless, or so on and so forth. So now, if I want to give a livelihood security, first of all, it's the food security, then the economic security, the health security, education security, social security, institutional security, and infrastructure security. This is where ARIA-AG is coming in a very big way and doing it. So I'll just tell you that how a rural intelligence platform network can add for a value chain, and how the rural development can take place across the various countries. And, in some countries, the health may be a very fragile issue. Okay, in India, migration may be an issue. Okay, in some other thing, the ecosystem and climate smart agriculture may become an issue. So very quickly, we'll see the alternate business philosophies. Okay, when I establish a rural intelligence framework, okay, and especially if I want to establish a value chain, I should have a marketing orientation, which is of focus post-liberalization in India after 1991. Today, we are all producing things only which is required by the market. For example, earlier we were only production oriented, and if people want to increase their income, today they have to produce what is required by the market, what is demanded by the market, for which your profits and provision of customer satisfaction can be met only with a beautiful intelligence framework, either in the rural areas for producers or in the urban areas predominantly where the consumers are staying. So now, if the producers have to make a dent, there should already be a buyback. Okay, I'm telling you, even this, during the corona period, there was a beautiful supply chain and value chain established. And obviously, the incomes did not decrease. This is what we have actually brought out with the paper. We even had a paper in Kurukshetra, myself and Dr. Chandrasekhar, and these are all there. So now if I say how to establish a rural network with a simple value chain. So the consumer is somewhere, the marketing is occurring through various channels, and the production logistics are there in the 6,48,000 villages of India. And then how are we going to link the consumer with the buyer, and what sort of value is added, whether the value is added in terms of the product, the process, or it is a place utility, or it is going to be a utility of money, or it's going to be utility of the transformed product. So now we say that in India, we have a lot of fragmented value chain. That means the producer and the consumer are at a distance, and the producer is not the processor. The processor is neither the distributor, nor is a wholesaler or a retailer. So therefore, we say that a very big fragmented value chain is there in India. And therefore, we are training all the farmer producer organizations and others. The producers himself should become the processor. He should become the distributor, and he should become the wholesaler and the retailer and reach the consumer. So when this sort of a value chain and supply chain is integrated, then there is all chances to increase the income. As I already told you, the HDI, the Human Development Index, has got three parameters. One is the income, the other one is the health, and the third is education. The more education we give, better is the Human Development Index. Okay, the better health you have and the nutrition security, we say that is a better Human Development Index. Obviously, the income has to increase. Just because the income has to increase, we can't make everybody a drug peddler or a robber or whatever it is. So how the fragmented value chain becomes an integrated value chain, and how from the inputs or the outputs to the producer, processor, retailer, and consumer is integrated so that there is an aggregation and increase of the income. So everybody knows the supply chain and the value chain. Okay, the value chain concept is coming from the customer's requirement, whereas the supply chain concept is a producer requirement and how he has to reach the customer. I think that is the difference between the supply chain and the value chain. Obviously, when these two things have to be integrated, if the customer requirement has to be integrated, there should be a value chain in place. If the producer's requirement has to be integrated, there should be a supply chain in place. So obviously, like we said, there was a movie from Akshay Kumar, Singh is king. So who is the king in a value chain? Obviously, the customer is the king in the value chain. And if a producer is able to integrate all these things in the, suppose when you come to rural development facets, whether it's education, health, sanitation, migration, okay, income generation, livelihood activities, climate sensitive agriculture, climate resilient agriculture, and so on. Obviously, the rural development actors, be it the Rural Development Ministry, CIRDAP, or it can be a health department, education department, that integrate all the customer requirements or all the stakeholder requirements into the value chain and very quickly capture all this particular data, convert it into information, and then, we'll start giving the interventions. So that is how I will be giving you certain examples. Okay, this is maybe in Amul Milk, Mother Dairy, Shuffle, Heritage, Suguna Poultry, PepsiCo, ITC. Many of my students are working here. Even from Manage, we have a lot of PGDMS students which has been produced. For example, there are people in IFCO, there is people in ICAR-IIHR. I'll be giving you certain examples how this particular value chain has been integrated with the rural intelligence platform. So these are some of the, I'll not go into how the model is working, but my aim is how the rural intelligence network is leading to this sort of a value chain development. Okay, how the farmers are integrated, okay, through the distribution channel with the rural retail point. Obviously, many mobiles, internet, many things are used. I'll be coming with that. Similarly, the dairy cooperatives of both Amul, Mother Dairy, all the supply chain, value chain is integrated. They use a lot of IT, ICT, and rural intelligence. I'll be coming to that. So, for example, Shuffle integrates 1,500 growers with the cluster villages. Recently, we had the Minister of Rural Development, Miss Neha Tirki was here in IIHR. So I was telling to her about the CBBO. That means cluster-based business organizations. Today, we go to the tribal belts, maybe a pineapple or a seed village concept. We integrate all the buyers into the main seed supply chain and seed value chain. And then that is how it moves. And their income also increases. Similarly with poultry. So what I wish to say here is, it is not only the production which is integrated into the value chain, the supply also is integrated into the value chain, the consumer requirements, and ultimately it's called as an end-to-end value chain. So we'll be telling PepsiCo also does the same thing. It has a lot of contract farmers, distribution channel. I'll be coming to the rural development per se, which is actually the focus of today's discussion. We are coming out with another paper that how the rural intelligence platforms, we are going to establish the sustainable value chain and how we are integrating very big organizations in India. One is IFCO, of course, Dr. Chandrasekhar's student is heading the Agri-Digital platform. And my student, Siddharth, works as a lead in ARIA AG. Okay, both these are in Delhi offices. So even ITC had come out long back with the E-Chopal model, by establishing a brilliant value chain with the Sanchalak, Sahayak, and how they were getting the information. So even in Madhya Pradesh, there, all the soybean growers were integrated. We had the Ashwini model of Bairaju Foundation. Okay, even Metro Cash and Carry, they integrate 19 wholesale centers, sourcing local suppliers. Again, all this neighborhood Kirana store, there's a lot of competition and the efficiency in marketing is increased. Food Corporation of India also comes out with this value chain approach, integrating ITC and ICT and so on and so forth. So then Ulavar Sandai, okay, again in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, we have these Raitu Bazaars. Again, they get integrated with this alternate value chains. So what Mr. Marup Namgel from IFCO calls it as the end-to-end value chain. Even in IIHR, we work on this integrated value chain. I'll call you later. I'm in a meeting, sir. So we call it as the end-to-end value chain. So now how to bridge the new gap and what is the role of the state? Okay, how the technology and market access becomes very, very dynamic and how it goes to the stakeholders and how they become integrated part of the value chain. So we'll be telling you, see, this was one experiment by IFCO Kisan. With IIHR we did, I told you. And you know what we actually did in this is, okay, they were promoting a biofortified crop, okay, that is fortified bajra, harvest plus 1,000 number variety. So they wanted us to, okay, they wanted us to do this fortified pearl millet, which claims more than 77 ppm of iron. Okay, very, very useful for the lactating pregnant women and on so on and so forth. So we took 500 farmers, 5 FPOs. We did this experiment in a place called Koppal. Okay, and then we have integrated the market linkage and the value chain into this, and end to end, right from the seed to the marketing. Okay, normally bajra, normal bajra sells at 2,200 rupees per 1 quintal. Okay, here we could be able to give them 3,300 rupees of per quintal because it's a fortified bajra with more than 77 ppm of iron. Normal bajra has about only 45 ppm of iron. So now, you see, this is Mr. Siddharth, myself, and of course the IFCO head, Marup Namgel, he sits at Delhi. So we went to the various FPOs, we have linked them. Okay, we had meetings, and that is Sangappa Chillarge from Bajra Institute, that Indian Institute of Millet Research, IIMR, and then we have contacted the farmer, right from production to marketing, end-to-end value chain. Okay, farmer field visit, and then we, you know, very heavily the value chain uses the ICT here. There is a Krishi Devgyan app, okay, which monitors with the AWS, the automatic weather station. They have the mobile app, which is integrated, and every farmer keeps uploading the data and so on and so forth. Okay, you can see myself, all 500 farmers, 5 FPOs, and you see how the data is captured by the automatic weather station, daily basis. We trained one Krishnappa Vaddigeri, okay, who is just a 10th standard pass. So he collects all, he captures all the rural development, agriculture data, feeds it into the mobile, and at the IFCO server, it comes back. Similar things will be done even in the value chain when we talk about the South Asia Pacific value chain for the across the sectors, health, education, migration, livelihood, sanitation, and so on, floods and other things. So all the data is captured from every individual also, whether it can be education, health, anything. Okay, crop monitoring, all the mobile photographs, that is the automatic weather station. Uploaded, it works in a 50-kilometer radius. And I told you that is Krishnappa Vaddigeri, a 10th standard person whom we have trained to do this job. It is not big rocket science, but the rural intelligence platform integrates all this intelligence into the value chain approach. So that, and also I was giving the messages called as IFCO Kisan Samachar. I used to translate into 7 languages. This is one thing where I translated into Kannada. You can hear. Yeah, I think it's there. Okay. So now the pearl millet, this is the fortified bajra pearl millet harvested. Okay, already bagged. And you can see very beautiful fortified bajra, 75 ppm of iron and above. Very, very boon for the pregnant, lactating mothers and so on. And you can see it. Okay, each 85 bags of bajra were collected in a single FPO with hardly 100 farmers. Okay, then this is the harvest plus variety. Okay, it's called AHB 1200. That is the variety name. Okay, then we sent it to the laboratory. Okay, the result was 83.25 ppm of iron as compared to the 45 ppm of iron. This is called the value chain approach, end to end. So instead of getting 2,100 rupees, they got 3,500 rupees in the Lucknow market. So this is how we say that the value chain approach and the rural intelligence network and framework, be it on the Android mobile or the iOS mobile, or it can be on the internet or on the backend server, it works. See, now IFFCO Kisan has come out with this digital extension through public-private partnership. So obviously what we are trying here is similar experiments we'll be trying with CIRDAP and others for the rural development facets. I told you health, education, nutrition, migration, employment, health, and so on. You see, everything is now going into precision farming or precision rural development. See, gone are those days where physically one has to go and do a participatory meeting. That's also good. That is only for the ground truthing and validation. But when I use a lot of rural intelligence network and hardware and software, my job is going to become easier, but at the same, it's going to be very, very accurate and that sort of things. So now, IFFCO has come out with Kisan Finance. Okay, they are having organic. There are so many verticals, and through partnership, they have been producing all this framework of rural development, and especially agriculture is a big name. So I was very lucky to be one of their, collaborators. And similar job we are trying even with CIRDAP and the Asia Pacific. We will already be doing the mobile journalism course for the 10 countries, and this is how we do it. So a lot of, IFFCO has already come out with Star Global, Airtel platforms linked up with the mobile service providers and trying to go into rural telephony as well, and agro-VAS, that means value-added services. Similar value-added services we can create in nutrition, health, and the other rural development facets. It is definitely not out of place. The rural development is going to become quicker, smarter, and faster. And now, whether it's cattle field or bridging the innovation agri value chain, I told you the Samadhan service, smart farms. Okay, Bajra one, I have already given the example. I was a part of it. Okay, they come out with another concept called the Agri 1.1, Agri K.2, okay, with the SIMS, end-to-end precision farming. This is what I keep telling. Similar things can happen even in case of rural development. And when we wrote this paper, the Rural Intelligence Platform for Rural Development, that's exactly what we are aiming. Even there, across the facets of rural development, we will be integrating all this mobile or the rural intelligence network framework, both hardware and software, trying to capture the rural development indicators, data very quickly, and then arrive at a very quick rational decision making. So
Hello?
that is the approach. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Your presentation is not visible.
It's not visible?
Mm-hmm.
1 minute. 1 minute. I'll just end this presentation. Okay, now it's visible?
No, not it.
1 minute. Shall I stop sharing and share
Yeah,
again?
you can try that.
Okay, stop share. Okay, now again I share. Share. Are you visible now?
Yeah, now it is visible.
Okay, fine. I will be doing it. It's visible? Yeah. Fine. I told you all this Agri 2.0, okay, end-to-end precision farming, we have already told. So ultimately our approach, whether it is rural development or agriculture, animal husbandry, and so on, okay, the transformation process is going to be accelerated, and the demand-driven farming or rural development through the conglomeration and aggregation of FPOs and the community. Okay, then we also want to build hyper-local farm intelligence. See, here it is not just the hardware and software. See how the intelligentsia is going to be structured into the capturing platform. Okay, and then how the ecosystem for agribusiness is built. So now look at the business model. The value-added service for the Airtel or Telco, I told you, the green SIM is given free. And then when the subscription increases, okay, in the rural areas, they have their own distribution channel. And because of the volume of business, they can get money. Both will be making profit. the value chain person who creates the value chain and the person who uses the value chain also end up with beautiful self-sustaining efficient communication model, increasing both the income and the visibility part of it. So now when I see the architecture and service construct of the advisory platform, the similar thing we have also been trying with Arya Shape and Arya AG. See here, the voice-based information, maybe it is production, migration, education, health, or whatever is going to be broadcasted through the digital rural radio forums, or it can be also transmitted through the rural radio forums or the community radio, very prevalent in Bangladesh, Myanmar, and so on. And at the same time, it is also going to improve the database. A lot of specialists are already going to be linked here, and then they are going to give the advisory services and the marketing services. That is how the architecture is going to work here. So instead of being reactive in the Green Revolution days, today we are highly proactive. Okay, we work on crop calendars, we work on health. For example, the Telangana government has come out with this Amma. Amma is one of the mobile platform that is this pregnant women and lactating mothers. Okay, what the midwives and the health department does is they have a Amma mobile app where every midwife will get an information that in Talasingaram village, how many women are pregnant, who are in the first semester, who are in the second trimester, what sort of nutrition has to be given, what sort of medication has to be given. So this is how the rural development today has become totally a value chain approach, and that's how it has transformed. Don't think only in agriculture it has been done. It has been done in the health sector and even in the employment sector or during the health corona crisis. Okay, a lot of mobile apps, okay, were used, and then people are doing this sort of rural development faster, smarter, location specific, and very much related to the user. So similarly, I told you about the crop calendar. I'll not explain. So there are so many crop advisories, animal advisories. Okay, I keep giving it in 7 languages. And apart from that, I'm also one of the resource persons of IFCO. Okay, even in the fishery community. Okay, how you see the non-fishery community and the fishery community. Okay, the decay trends. You see now what the red indicates that even in the non-fishery community, the knowledge is increasing. Please understand this. See, fishery community may have a very local knowledge because of their birth, because they are born as fishermen. But the entire fishery department cannot take place only with that. So the knowledge has to be shared to the other people as well. So that is being done with this rural intelligence platform in the fishery sector. So I can go on telling you all these things. Okay, end-to-end crop cycle-based content repository. Okay, all major and minor crops are covered. Rural ecosystem, what SIRDAP keep talking about, rural tourism. Okay, as an augmented income for the farmers, and where all it can take place, which are the seasons, very, very suitable. We can think of all that. Okay, personalized and timely information we keep giving. Okay, this is how the metrics work, how many daily messages, how the Kisal call centers are working. Okay, then there are a lot of digital tools for precision farming and rural development, farm traceability, and obviously satellite imagery. Okay, we can even think of this in case of the soil moisture or in case of this land degradation, pests and diseases with image recognition, crop simulation models, then IoT sensors, okay, automated farm advisories. So everywhere, the digital tools and the rural intelligence framework is at the background. So this is called as a data-driven automated advisories. The Samadhan service already told us. Okay, image recognition, we keep doing it. Crop health monitoring to remote sensing. Similar things are already done even in the rural development sector. I told you about the Amma app in Telangana for the pregnant women and lactating mothers for their care. Okay. We can just go, I'll just show you very quickly how the IoT sensors, the automatic weather station, I already showed you how we have used it in the Koppal district with 500 farmers, which will give you a very, very sensitive information up to 5 feet ground level. and a very important local information, because it may rain in my village, it might not rain in the next village. So this sort of precision farming is used, automated irrigation, because today there are a lot of power cuts and we do not know when the power will be restored. So with a simple IoT sensor, you can switch on and off your pump sets. So that is called Aquatron. So it is a sensor-based automatically switching on and off irrigation systems. So small farm, smart farm, smart primary health center, better education center, online classes for rural villages. Okay, then supply chain and integrating the customer and the consumer and the producer into one platform. So I can go on like this. Very quickly, I will go with the Aryak shape things. Have a look at it. This is another vertical. Of course, there will be, ICAR-IIHR it is called. Okay, Prasanna Rao is the CEO of this. They have been working on the area catchment monitoring. Okay, then which area is suitable for which crop. Okay, they have developed a lot of, there are many problems. They are also working on this warehousing vertical, where they give you end-to-end solution, and the rural development people or people in the villages need not run from pillar to post to get their produce marketed or putting it in a warehouse, getting a 75% loan. So all this is taken care by this rural intelligence framework and the mobile applications and the net-based applications, both on the server and the other level. So they are a big global MNC player, ICAR-IIHR. So they do wheat monitoring. It has been done in Ukraine. Similar things can be done in Asia Pacific with our farmers. Arya Shakti, okay, they develop a lot of mobile application. Okay, the empowering farmers with the data-driven, okay, information-driven, knowledge-driven platforms. Okay, they link the market, community, and multiple languages. Okay, you can become the member. So they build farm-to-farmer FPO networks are also done. That is actually missing in the South Asia Pacific, where the different line departments of rural development are not yet linked and integrated. So Arya Shakti is one platform which can do this, and they've also got a linkage with the banks. Okay, people can their sub-startups can get finance and do all these things with multiple crops. Okay, the agri networks are expanding. Okay, so friends, very quickly, let me quickly conclude. Okay, this is how we have been doing all these things. Okay, I'll quickly come to the conclusion part of today's session. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. So ultimately, I'm just going to wind up my presentation because it's getting 3:35 by my watch. See, now whether it is rural development, agriculture, animal husbandry, Asia Pacific, and so on and so forth, we require two things in an artificial intelligence. One thing is we require ancestral intelligence, we require artificial intelligence. We require local intelligence, we require intelligence of the stakeholders, we require intelligence of the shareholders, stakeholders, the community, and through all this participation, my intelligence, rural intelligence network is going to become a value chain for rural development. And it is not out of place that the rural development, okay, is going to become faster, it is going to become smarter, it is going to become precise, it is going to become very, very accurate. And we wish that that divide between the rural and the urban development will one day vanish and we'll have an egalitarian society in the days to come. Jai Hind. Thank you very much. This is how I end my presentation. Yeah,
Okay.
now I stop sharing and open it for a few questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for the very detailed presentation as always. So I'll take up the questions now. How can rural intelligence platform help small farmers improve crop yields?
See, now I have already told you, the crop is only a small part. See, now many of my students also keep asking whether you are a small farmer or a big farmer or a marginal farmer. If I have the knowledge of what is going to happen in the very near future, whether you call it astrology or you call it forecasting or you call it technology forecasting, my decision making can be better, and I can definitely avoid my losses and risk, and I can definitely try to improve my profitability by integrating better into the market and into my customer base and market base. That's how it works.
Okay. And what kind of data is most critical for rural development and how is it collected?
See, now, for example, I've already made a mention. Of course, although I'm an agri professional, but I do have my tentacles in the other department. See, for example, we have a sector called education. We have a sector called rural employment. We have a sector called livelihoods, sustainable rural livelihoods. We have a sector called migration. We have a sector called health. So now if I take about 5 to 6 and more facets of rural development, some things, for example, this migration may be more in Myanmar or in the Lao PDR, there may be some other issue. Every country may have a very specific rural development issue. So if I establish the rural intelligence network for a faster data capture, for an accurate data capture, and then apply that in the communities by taking a participatory decision-making process, my rural development efforts are going to be maximized, and it is also going to be very efficient, and I can do it much, much faster. That is the whole paradigm of all this rural intelligence network for rural development.
Okay. And can this platform help address rural unemployment or skill development?
Definitely. See, for example, if you go to www.skill.gov.in, there is last time when I visited Jaipur, when Dr. Chandrasekhar was the DG at NIAM, I happened to take a class in PSDU, Bharatiya Skill Development University. That is a university only for skill. And see, now once when a platform is made, I can really capture the data where my artisans are there, where my handicraft people are there, where the, the Pochampalli sarees are made, where the Dindigal sarees are made. So they are all my clusters. So where I will be capturing this data very quickly, trying to improve their skill sets. For example, the Pochampalli sarees, it has got a GI, and people are there who have developed all that weaving machines for them, customizing it for how they weave the saree. The Pochampalli saree is woven on a different color combination and so on. So therefore, this rural intelligence network can identify the skill sets, it can identify the community, it can do the participatory process, and we can definitely zero in on those communities to improve their livelihoods, their income, and also work on the 5 capitals: the human capital, the natural capital, the physical capital, the financial capital, and the social capital. See, these are called the 5 capitals of livelihood. If you refer to the DFID framework of livelihoods I showed you in my very first slide. So today the sustainable rural livelihood is standing on these 5 capitals, and that's how the rural development also has got different facets where we are going to target each and every vertical, each and every capital. And the ultimate aim is we should not take too much time in capturing the data and then taking a decision. Maybe the development takes time, but to arrive at a decision to zero in on the development intervention, it should not take a lot of time. So that is called Viksit Bharat, Viksit Rural Development, Viksit South Asia Pacific. Thank you.
Okay. And who are the primary users of rural intelligence platform?
See, this is a very beautiful and a very tricky question Agri Information is posing. See, we normally assume that the primary stakeholders are the artisans, the farmers, and so on. Need not be, because, see, there is a rural development ministry is there. There is a health department, the doctors, the midwife, okay, they also are lacking so many information about the community. The community lacks the information about the department, or they do not know what are the facilities they can use from the health department. And the agri department, maybe the farmers are the stakeholders, but they do not know what sort of subsidy scheme is there, what sort of crop insurance is there. So therefore, the rural intelligence platform is one digital platform wherein, just like Google, Whatever doubt you have, you type into Google. Tomorrow, my rural development practitioners, my rural development people, my rural development stakeholders, consumers, and so on will simply log into a mobile application developed by anybody, XYZ, and immediately they will zero in on the decision. See, suppose today you want to book a aeroplane ticket to Kumbh, Prayagraj. So you will immediately know what are the flights, when it is vacant. All information is available on the fingertip. But today a rural development user or a rural development stakeholder does not have this information on the single tip of a mobile phone or anything. That is where we say this end-to-end value chain approach in rural development has to come from rural intelligence framework. Actually, we are writing two different papers. One is the rural intelligence platform. The other one is the value chain approach in rural development. But today, after your presentation, I've got a very brilliant idea. I'm going to integrate both of these things and then use it. I think I have answered. Thank you.
Okay, very nice, sir. So next question. Yeah. How does the platform ensure accessibility for farmers with limited technology knowledge? I think the same.
Yeah, no. This question is valid as well. You see, after all, whether it's India or the Asia Pacific or any rural area in the world, whether it is Africa, whatever, the only limitation is the accessibility of the information through a mobile phone. So everybody has to purchase a mobile phone, or like in India, many people we might not own a phone, but I may use my neighbor's phone. So therefore, the internet connection, the accessibility, the 5G towers, and owning a mobile may be a limitation. I think this is a very, very small problem. Any government can give everybody one mobile free of cost. Of course, don't think that I'm a minister who is talking here, but the limitation what occurs to me is the internet reach, the internet connectivity, the internet signals, and maybe a 5G phone or a 4G phone. Even today with 3,000 rupees, you are able to get it. So why not suppose in a community-based business organization in a village, in a panchayat office, let us say in Burma or whatever. So if the panchayat office is having these mobiles, they can sitting there, the panchayat pradhan or the sarpanch or the e-chaupal person can go on accessing the information, and just like a rural radio forum in 60s, we were calling as the Charcha Mandals in India. Today it is called the DMF, the Digital Media Forum, where everything is accessed on a mobile, and then we get our information, and the discussion can further start on that, and the rural development efforts can be highly augmented, supplemented, and integrated, and also enriched. I think this is the answer. Thank you.
Okay. And what are the primary challenges in implementing rural intelligence platforms in remote areas?
Yeah, see, in remote area, this is a very valid question. I think, of course, when I was a young boy, I visited Ghana, and I have some idea of the other countries, but I'm not sure about Asia Pacific. My friend Dr. Chandrasekhar and others will tell you. See, maybe, establishing the towers or infrastructure to stream the mobile information and accessing it on a mobile may be one of the limitations. I'm not very sure. You kindly excuse me for this question. Because in India, of course, with 648,000 villages, even today, the internet penetration is not 90%. Although even in the Manmohan Singh government, they told that by 2017, we will cover all the 100%. But I think still there are some tribal villages. And other thing I told you recently, the Jharkhand Agri Minister, Ms. Neha Tirki was here. So I'm trying to establish this cluster-based business organization, of course, in horticulture. Similarly, in rural development, it can occur. And I think the tower, the signals, and accessibility is some of the limitation. Of course, my friends will further validate it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. And how can this platform support decision-making for sustainable agricultural practices?
Yeah, of course, today's topic is not just agriculture practices, but rural development and a gamut as a whole. See, now I will give a small example. See, suppose, I think, you have to go from here to a movie. Simple movie going, it may look very silly if I say this. How the decision making to go to a shopping or a movie takes place. Okay, 3 of you are sitting at home, 4 of you are sitting at home. You access through Google, which is the cheapest one, where the rebate is available. I think you will be collecting more than 2 tons of information before you buy a small item from a shop. Similarly, when rural development is such a complicated process, phenomenon, and a very difficult task, with a data-driven technology and with a lot of accurate information, I'm not telling just data, but the data converted to knowledge and information. Okay, if it is available, definitely my rural development efforts will be maximized. It will be highly precise. It will be highly effective with a great degree of efficiency. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And are there any case studies showing measurable impact from using rural intelligence platforms?
Yeah. See, of course, I didn't have time. I quickly ran. For example, the IFCO case, okay, the Safal case, the Amul Dairy case, okay, the Mother Dairy case. There are so many examples. Even there are so many research papers I can share where the incomes have increased, the marketing costs have decreased, the marketing efficiency has increased. Similarly, in rural development also, of course, I will be laying hand to write the paper. So I will be coming out with various case studies where the rural intelligence platform has increased. See, otherwise there is no point in, doing a research project or establishing an infrastructure, that to a rural intelligence infrastructure for rural development. So in fact, that is the whole aim of CIRDAP, okay, or a rural development ministry, and so on and so forth. So today everybody wants the transformation to occur much faster, and there are umpteen number of success stories in this particular direction, and definitely they are there. That is the reason we have been giving a seminar on this particular topic today. Thank you.
Okay. And what role does the platform play in connecting rural farmers to markets or financial resources?
Fine. See, now we are talking at 2 levels. One is at the input level. If finance is an input, I require credit. I have to access the bank. I have to give my KYC, the Aadhaar, okay, or my voter ID, and so on and so forth. So my loans can be disbursed directly into my account. I need not even visit the branch. So that is at the input level. The second one is the output commercial level. My produce is there, whether it is NCDX or it can be any other e-chopal, soya bean, safal, all so many things. Just by the press of a button, okay, people have they open their Excel sheets. They know that from which farmer, what produce is going to be harvested at which time, how it has to be lifted, what is the moisture percentage. So many things are there, even without a single movement, even without putting one step outside your home, you can get your produce marketed. And similarly for the health sector, the rural development, education sector, okay, how many people are not educated, how many people are migrating, in which tribe and which community the migration is increasing, okay, and which community is more vulnerable for health, okay, lactating mothers, and especially all the diseases and so on. So all these things can become quicker, more accurate, more specific in a very less time. So it is accuracy, brevity, clarity, and faster, smarter. So that is how this entire rural intelligence platform and the value chain, after robustly establishing it and empowering people and training them, it can be used to the advantage of rural development. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. How does this platform integrate with existing rural development programs?
Absolutely brilliant question. We wanted to answer this also in our concluding remarks in the paper. See, already we don't start from zero, assuming that already such efforts are not there in the world. Already the efforts are there. Maybe Myanmar is one step ahead of India, or India is one step ahead of some other country, and so on. So this differential can exist, but we will be establishing and making the rural intelligence platform more and more robust based on what is already done. So we are going to augment this particular effect, and definitely we are not going to start from zero on scratch and reinventing the wheel. The rural intelligence platform, whether it is Java, Bava, Python, whatever it is, so it is going to integrate the existing platform, making it more robust, integrating with the 5G and making it faster, smarter, cheaper, and faster.
Okay. So now last question. What future advancements are planned for enhancing rural intelligence platforms?
This is absolutely a brilliant question, which in fact, I will also make you co-author because you are giving me so many leads to write this particular paper. See, now the robustness, it starts from the demand. Okay, the more demands are integrated into the platform, the more robust it is. And there should, and more needs. That's why we call it as the participatory rural intelligence platform. The more and more needs and aspirations of the stakeholders are integrated into the rural intelligence platform, the more robust it is, and quicker, faster rural development can take place. So therefore, in fact, with CIRDAP and other organizations, we are in the process of integrating many startups, many stakeholders, many big organizations, ICAR-IIHR, NORM, IIHR, CIRDAP, and all the other experts who work with me. So we will integrate all these things so that we need not reinvent the wheel and waste our time. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, sir. So we have covered a lot of questions. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you for a very detailed presentation and always explaining in very detail. And so I also like to thank my editorial team for sharing the questions. We'll close this meeting now.
Okay, thank you very much. I sincerely put my thanks on agriinformation.com, CIRDAP, and my other colleagues who have been actually motivating me to write this paper. And I wish that it will take its logical shape. Thanks to Arya, thanks to IFCO. I used all your materials. I will hope for a better integration in future, sir. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.